On the podcast, we have Alex Molden. Alex is a former NFL football player. Now he's a personal development coach, a keynote speaker, host of the Shark Effect podcast. We talk about his NFL experience. Of course, we're talking a lot of marketing and branding and business development. We talk about his son, Elijah, who's going to get drafted here in just a couple weeks, and a whole lot more. We appreciate you listening and hope you enjoy. Well, we're just right into it. We'll go here. Appreciate you joining us, Alex. When we talked the other day, I was like, let's just get on to a podcast. So I know we're talking about your son, Elijah, who will be drafted here in 3 weeks. Oh my God, 4 weeks.
Yeah, 4 weeks from tomorrow. Hopefully.
In beautiful Cleveland, Ohio.
That's right.
Are they I don't know. Are you going? Are they going?
No. He's going to be at the house. He's going to be at the house. Yeah.
Okay.
Him and his girlfriend. Yeah.
Okay. Are people allowed to go though? Like, are regular fans allowed? Like Cleveland, just Browns fans, are they allowed to go there?
I don't know. I don't know how it is out there.
What?
They're starting to open some things up, like 20% capacity.
Now that I said that out loud, I am remembering now that this coffee's finally kicking in. It was a rough night last night for the old Prego live, and Cash is sick, but vaccinated. They're inviting certain. I think it was like the Super Bowl. Where they're inviting certain vaccinated fans can go. I believe was the case. I don't know.
That'll be good though.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's frozen.
Oh no. Just you and I then, Sam.
Just the two of us.
But I do think that's the case. I think it's if you there, it's like healthcare workers. I think they're doing the same issue.
Okay. Do you know where it's at in Cleveland?
I assume at the Brown Stadium, or like in the around it somewhere. I know it's in that area.
You could do it at the Hard Rock.
Yeah. I don't know where it's gonna be. He's popping back on. We're just gonna continue to roll with this. I'm not gonna cut this.
No.
You can look it up.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
You on? You there?
Wonder if they would do it at Cavs Arena, Q.
I don't think it is. Because I remember seeing the outline of it. Maybe they were just showing the Brown Stadium area, but I think it's somewhere there.
Oh, you know what? Yeah.
Because it was supposed to be
about this before.
Well, it was supposed to be in Canton.
They were going to do both. They were going to do
like
day one in Canton, day two in Cleveland. That was the initial plan, and that's why Cleveland got it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get the official here.
So I don't know where Alex's son Elijah. He's a player. I guess not anymore. Was a player at Washington. Really, really good, talented dude. He'll be. I've seen anywhere from a first to a fourth rounder. Obviously, who knows until this all goes down. But he'll be drafted probably in the first couple days. So he was there yesterday at his pro day. We were talking a little bit about that. Where's it going to be at?
I'm looking it up right here.
There we go. Okay.
There we go. Alex is back. You're going to go back and re-listen to the podcast. We'll fill you in on. You can get filled in on the rest of what we talked about.
We were just BS through as you came back, but because I'm not gonna edit it. We'll just ride with it. We don't know though.
It's loading here.
So when you got drafted, so what year did you get drafted?
96.
96. Okay, so you were a second round draft pick.
First
round. Okay.
Yeah, number 11.
Number 11. Oh no shit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the location in Cleveland. They're gonna be hosting at First Energy Stadium, which is Cleveland Indians, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the Great Lakes Science Center.
Huh.
I don't know how they're going to break that up or what they're going to do, but maybe
on day 1, day 2, and day 3.
Yeah, that makes sense. Something like that.
First Energy would probably be cool outside there.
Okay. Huh.
So when you got drafted, I don't remember 96 that well. We're both 12. He just turned 11 at that point. What was that like? Were you at the location or were you home with family or what did you do?
No, man, that was a dream come true. I remember watching so many years like Troy Aikman, Deion Sanders, Barry Sanders, Steve Atwater, Emmitt Smith. For so many years, man, I sat back at home and I watched these guys walk up on stage, take the picture with the commissioner and then get their jersey and whatnot. And when I got that opportunity, when the NFL called and it said they wanted to invite me to New York, I jumped at the chance. Yeah. And, it's so funny because you start to hear, for me, it was like I can go anywhere between 5 and number 20. And I was like, okay, between 5 and 20, I feel pretty comfortable or pretty confident that I didn't want to be that dude that, they go there and you're waiting all day and then maybe into day 2. So I did not want to be that guy. And what gave me an inclination was at the draft, or excuse me, at the combine, I had an interview with the Denver Broncos, and Coach Shanahan, the daddy, he was interviewing me, and I'm originally from Colorado Springs. And I'm talking to him. I'm like, after the interview, I was like, Coach, they had the number 15 pick. I said, Coach, I would love to be a Bronco. I just want to let you know.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, that's great, Alex, but you're not going to be there when we pick. And so I was like, oh, that gave me an inclination that, okay, I think I'm gonna be going a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But absolutely, man, I took advantage of the opportunity. It was a blast. I remember it like it was yesterday.
We were talking about, as you were going there, about Elijah. What do you think? I said I've seen him anywhere from a first to a fourth rounder. Who knows? Does he have any idea where he thinks he might go?
Not an idea.
It really matters, but happens. But a lot of people say stuff that doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, no, it's looking anywhere between number 20 and number 50. Sure. But it all depends on what a team, what their needs are, who's available.
What happens with that?
Yeah, so it's like, but it's looking, there's a lot of teams that need defensive back help, especially in the nickel. But, there's so many teams that, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Denver, Dallas, there's so many teams that need defensive back help. And the thing about him is he's a Swiss Army knife. He can play corner, he can play in the slot, he can play safety.
Yeah.
So, it just all depends.
Yeah. What a crazy next month this will be.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you were in New York, what were like some of the things that they gave you guys behind the scenes that they weren't really like? They take you guys out to dinner? Did they like that week, or I guess a couple of days leading up to the draft? What did you get to do?
Well, number one, like they give you a choice. Like say, hey, we can fly you and your agent, or I think it was like they'll fly 5 members of your family out first class, or they can fly out 8 to 10 and coach.
Oh.
And so I was like, okay, I just do it. We do coach. And so I had my mom, my brother, my uncle, two of my really good friends who were like brothers, and fly you out in I forgot the name of the hotel, but it was dope. It was my first time in New York, and I just remember being there, eating dinner and just like, man, walking the streets of New York and just envisioning myself, with the team. I didn't know I had to, a couple of teams flew me out, Baltimore, Cincinnati, not New Orleans. I think even Tampa Bay, but going out there and just imagine myself in that city. And, when all that stuff went down, with the draft and the pick, one thing like I felt was kind of stolen from me was the phone call, right? You're in the green room, they got the cameras on you, and you get the phone call from the team who has the next pick. Well, I didn't get that. Like I was watching ESPN just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. And then I hear with the number 11th pick, the New Orleans Saints select Alex Molden. I was like, what?
You didn't like that. I think that's so cool because you find out when
man.
It's like you wanted to pick
No, man. I wanted to pick up the phone just like Deion Sanders did, just like Barry Sanders, Troy, all those types. I wanted to be like that. And actually that happened after I went up on stage, the photo ops, the interviews, and then I come back, and then now I'm talking to the head coach and the general manager, man. I don't know if I've never seen that happen since then.
Yeah. Especially such a high pick. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, now so different. I mean, you didn't have, did you have a cell phone in 96?
Probably not, right?
No, I didn't.
I feel like our
He had to go to
dads,
the payphone and call
Yeah, right.
whoever wasn't there.
yeah.
That 11th person that didn't get to travel with him, he went to the payphone.
right.
and-
Well, I was gonna say, I
You
feel
got
like
the
our dads,
cord. You got the cord.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our dad started to have that mobile phone for work.
The car phone.
He had a stroke in 96. So
Yeah.
right around then he had one. So I didn't know if it, I don't remember. But it's interesting.
Okay.
But now all those guys, they do get the calls right while they're in there, and that you see even the guys that are there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
So you play a bunch of years in the NFL. And obviously we're on here talking business and marketing and off the field stuff, not just on the field type.
Yeah.
What do you think from your perspective, what do you think you'd have done differently from a business standpoint if you could go back now today? And obviously you'd make a bunch more money today than you would then, but what decisions that you made could you have changed and done better?
Oh man. In terms of just like marketing or business wise? Because
Both.
I can go many different ways, man.
Sure. Yeah, let's go those ways. Because from a marketing branding, obviously there's that. From a business standpoint, I don't know what your contracts look like, after the rookie contract, and even rookie contract at your time probably wasn't slated how it is now, where you just, exactly basically what you're going to make when you get drafted nowadays. It wasn't that way then either. So from both of those standpoints, maybe just business in general, though, what would you have done differently?
I know, man. Well, we didn't have social media. So that's one thing. If I had social media and then, I would have now, man, you can have your own podcast. You can have your own show, whatever. For us, it was like, if you had a radio show, that was great. Or if you was a superstar, that was phenomenal. But, for me, it was like the different opportunities that my marketing guy would try to create. And they didn't care. It didn't matter if you had a great personality or if you have other interests or whatnot. It was just all about how good of a player are you, where you were drafted, and what type of opportunities companies can be able to get. Because if you played in the NFL, that was like, okay, let's sign him for this, for like breathe right. Like everybody on the team had a breathe right contract that was typically about $5,000. You just got to wear the breathe right during the games. And now with the different type of personalities that these guys have and different interests, it's so, man. I mean, even if I did like to go golf or fish, and there's no way that people would know that unless I was on a radio show or on a TV show. And even then, I still couldn't create that connection. So if I had to go back, I would try to anytime, I would try to create a connection with people instead of just me. Hey, I'm a football player. I play in the NFL. I would try to create that connection with people. I would be more mindful of how I communicated with people. And man, that's.
How did you treat like fan experiences or, like what I remember going to Browns, we're from Cleveland, obviously, like we said, we'd go to Browns, like whatever it's called, not mini camp, preseason camp where we could actually go be a part or like
fan day.
Yeah. And I remember, even at 8 or whatever I remember some guys were really good. And I remember thinking like, oh, that guy wasn't nice for whatever reason. I could have been totally off. Yeah. But how did you treat that? Because I still see a lot of people that treat that as like an obligation, or you talk to media. Yours would be different than media today, but as an obligation instead of the opportunity to build your community and build something more, a real relationship than just some dude who plays ball.
Yeah, man, I would always sign autographs, and really, I would more likely than not make sure I signed the autographs of the young kids, like the older kid or the men, the fans, those crazy ones. I was like, man, I'd be like, man, I made a point, man. Let me sign this little dude's autograph first. But I made it like a point, like anytime, especially like with youth, I would make sure that I would create a connection. on game days, right? You're out there for warm-ups and whatnot. And they always had like, you know, different types of people on the sidelines, typically like younger people, younger men, or not men, but boys and girls. You know, if they had ailments or something like that, I would definitely make sure I go in there, shake their hand, you know, say what's up. Hey, you know, you're having a fun time. This is your first time at a football game. All this type of stuff, because I knew that I can create a relation, or not a relationship, more of a memory for them.
Yeah.
That could possibly inspire them to do some amazing things, because it happened to me at a young age. I had, when I was in high school, Simon Fletcher played defensive end for the Broncos. He came and spoke with our class. And I just remember like, man, this dude he plays in the NFL. And for me, it was like a unicorn. You know, I just see him on TV. He's in my school talking to all of us. And it inspired me to be like, man, he's real. He's not just on TV. And so like anytime I could, any interaction, especially with like the young folks, I wanted to create that same experience.
It does mean so much. And that's what's so cool about this thing, the phone now too, is you can create a similar type memory by commenting back to somebody who comments on your post. Like, oh my God, so-and-so. So I was talking, do you ever watch The Last Chance U?
Oh yeah. Okay, it's been a minute, but I just watched the basketball one.
Okay. That's the one I'm talking about. Do you know Deshaun?
Oh, I don't know all the names.
Okay. Deshaun is the light-skinned kid.
Oh yeah, with the
red.
Yeah.
And is he's painted in the best light. Looks great.
Yes, he's the guy.
If you haven't watched it and you're listening, I don't want to put it out there, but he is the guy that they talk about, I don't know if he ever knew his dad but didn't have a relationship with dad for sure. And then mom just passed right before the season. Yeah. And so I talked to him the other day on the phone. He hits me up and he had some questions about some stuff, and we're talking, and I said basically that same thing about how much it means. Like, I know a month ago, nobody knew who the hell you were, but now millions of people know who you are. And it is a big deal. He goes, you know what? It's the weirdest thing. He goes, I had somebody who I just liked their DM to me, and they were like, oh my God, I never thought you'd say this. This means, or never see this. This means so much to me. And I was like, yeah, that's what this is. And Deshaun is a Sacramento State basketball. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Well, spoiler alert. Sorry. He's a Sacramento State basketball player, right? He's not LeBron James. He's not so-and-so. I don't know what his ceiling is play-wise, but he's somebody they saw on TV. And now it's like they just had a touching point of DM back. And that's anybody in any sport. When you do that, a lot of times your comment back to somebody is going to be the thing they're going to screenshot. They're going to send to all their friends.
It's going to be a highlight
on their Instagram. Yeah. And that back in your day, or even when we were kids, it would, I would probably, if I got that happen, like, oh, Alex came up and said hi to me on the sideline. Like, you'd have to call somebody and tell a couple people. Yeah. But it wouldn't be as big of a deal as it, or it wouldn't be as able to travel, even though it was as big of a deal. It wouldn't be able to travel and be this whole big, like, I want to say PR thing, because that seems like you're not doing it for the right reasons. But so many more people would hear about it today if you, as simple as a comment back on Instagram too.
I remember one of my first memories in life. I was probably 4, 5, 6 years old, again at Browns practice camp, and I was wearing a Bernie Kosar jersey, and Bernie was running in at the end of practice, and he wouldn't sign anyone's autograph. Then he stopped after he ran by me and kind of backpedaled. And I was the only one he grabbed a pen and signed my card of his. And I was the only one, and then he took off in the locker room. And like, I was a Bernie fan from then on,
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I mean, like,
simple
that was
things.
30 years ago, and I remember it still,
Mm-hmm. That's so cool.
Yeah. And that's where we think it's such when you're at that platform, and even if you're not at your platform, if you're at our levels, where we played low level college football, you've got this platform to be able to build from way higher than anybody who's just a regular person, right? You're an athlete. People see you as, for whatever reason, they see you as something that they aspire to be or want to be, or at some level. And so whether it's like building businesses or opportunities or just doing appearances and signing autographs now, with this whole name, image, likeness era, and then obviously into the pros, there's so many opportunities to create from your platform that obviously we know, and we've talked about this before, very few people understand that at this point still.
Yeah.
But
That's
What
crazy.
do you think you would do now? Like, let's say like social media existed in your era, knowing what you know now, and obviously it's a little different now that you have a little bit more experience and knowledge around everything. But what verticals do you think, or brand verticals, would you approach going into the draft? Would you find like, if you like watches or you want to have food like a Pizza Hut, like what brand verticals do you think you would approach, knowing like what behind the scenes access you have, and only a few have that?
Man, I would attach myself to things that I care about. You know, like I care about my health, and I did back then. So like I would say companies that nutrition type companies. I don't know, vitamins, maybe some, I don't know, protein. That was one of the big things. I mean, we used it all the time. We just never, we didn't promote it or anything like that. But I think that, I had a Nike contract. So, and I grew up loving Nike. So when they came knocking, that was an easy one. But yeah, I think
go ahead. Finish.
No, I was about to say, and then I end up developing, like a love for watches and golf. So, yeah, I would have connected with one of those companies and kind of create like, it would have been cool to have like a little show where I can make light of myself, just starting to learn the game of golf and all the hiccups and all the things that we used to do, kind of let people in and see some of the follow us along with on Tuesdays was our off day during the season, and it'd be about 4 or 5 of us from the team, and we weren't all that great in golf, but we talked a lot, right? And it was comedy, how we used to make bets. We used to talk about each other's swing and all that type of stuff, which kind of, I didn't like losing money. So I ended up I was one of the first ones that started getting lessons. And how the improvement came, week in and week out. So yeah, I would have definitely
you just had
got connected with that.
Yeah, think if you had somebody with a camera just following you guys around, how great that would have been, and how great it would have done on YouTube.
Oh,
yeah.
That'd be great now. Even like I know that they have what is it, like the Tom Brady and Peyton did like the 2-on-2 last year.
Oh yeah.
Remember something like that? But they're not showing. I mean, they're doing the ESPN version. I want like a YouTube version where you guys are betting, some cuss words here and there. The real unedited type version, I think, would be tremendous, even right now.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. Anytime you can get a picture behind the scene of what somebody looks like, and if it's interesting, at least, that's always a good thing. But what I was going to ask you is, how involved, like you said, you got a Nike contract. How involved were you in any of that stuff? Like when your agent comes to you and says, Nike wants to work with you, are you saying, hey, I want to do X, Y, Z? Or are you just like, you tell me what to do and I'm going to rock with it?
Yeah, back then I was like, how much? How much? Okay,
enough?
cool. That's good enough. Look,
but did you negotiate that at all?
No, I had no clue. It was like, my agent, actually an agent, but my marketing guy, he was the one that facilitated all of that. And so I just trusted him to get me as much as I could, depending on where I was slotted at, for at least my first contract. And then after that, we kind of take it from there. But yeah, I didn't have anything, I had no say in it.
Gotcha.
It is interesting now how like there's so many more avenues, like from you to your son. Like your son could have taken that Breathe Right strip and said, okay, yeah, I'll do that 5,000, but I want another 5,000 a month, and I'll post on social media. I'll write a blog post about it. I'll do X, Y, Z, which is the same thing that you could have done with Nike if you had all these different assets that you had potentially to reach and connect, like you said, with the audience that you didn't have back then.
Absolutely.
Like what you basically, I mean, as a brand, it was like they could utilize your name, image, likeness, but then maybe like appearances and like some stuff like that. So you had a big leap of things.
Partner for camps, maybe.
Yeah, for camps, appearances, that type of stuff. Where now it's so you have all these social media, blog posts, email, you name it, podcasts.
I'm thinking about, podcasts. I could have had, for this amount, I also have you as a featured, you know, whatever partner. Yeah, partner. I like that.
It's, yeah.
Yeah, on my podcast.
Or maybe, and then you can, and it's not just like you read an ad, breathe right. You could do that, or it could be, you pick your do right, breathe right player of the week or something. Like if it was football.
Oh yeah.
You can be so creative around the stuff. A lot of times we'll see athletes where they post like the most basic of basic things. Like you could have changed that caption, or you could have come back to the brand with a better idea than what you did, but they just don't know any better.
I think that's the difference now is like you can go back to them with more.
Yeah, but still a lot of people don't know that or know to do it or do it.
Yeah. What was the one you saw? There was an NBA guy who got drafted recently.
No.
Was it NBA?
Oh, yeah.
And it was like they literally copied and pasted what the marketing manager had typed and it said like insert here or something like that.
I remember talking to Alex. No. Here's what it said. It was Chase Young, who's a phenomenal football player, whatever. But and when I always talk about, when I say this on my Instagram, because I'll talk about this type of stuff, I'll say no shade to the athlete, but it said caption in the caption. It said caption and then blah, 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 blah. And it was up. I saw it 45 minutes after it was up. And the fact that he did that one, or whoever posted it, because could have very well not been him, but somebody posted it, and then nobody caught it in 45 minutes. Not very good. But I've seen that more than one time. There was some other NBA stuff. Actually, I remember when we talked initially, it was right around the NBA draft when I went on your podcast. Now think about that too. Like, and I'm sure you've thought about this. Think if you started the Shark Effect podcast in 96 or whatever the equivalent to that would have been a podcast in 96, like how many more viewers and how many.
You'd be the Joe Rogan right now. Spotify buying up the content.
Turning away money.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, and it's but just interesting conversations with interesting people with interesting stories.
Yeah. And sometimes it's as simple as that, especially if you are 25, 27 in your prime, whatever your prime was when you played, but you're the prime, you've got all these people who are seeing you on Sundays, who are talking about you. They're at the time they're reading articles or whatever. Now now you could have a social media following of 500,000 to drive all those people to that podcast. We really haven't seen a whole lot of athletes do a podcast in their prime. I know podcasting, especially in the athlete world, is newish.
Yeah. I know. What was it? JJ Redick has come out
JJ
a couple years ago. I wouldn't say necessarily in his prime. He's probably
JJ Redick.
Yeah, on not his way out.
I think he's our age. So yeah.
He hit his peak, but still I think he's still a starter.
Yeah. Well, Asia Wilson and Nafisa Collier. Asia Wilson was the WNBA MVP last year, but did 5 episodes or something and then didn't do it. So it hasn't been consistent. But you just don't see it a whole lot with prime athletes, where it's like you've got this massive platform. You'll go on the other shows.
Yeah.
You have this huge thing. If you're good at it. Obviously, podcast's not for everybody to do.
Yeah, that's right.
If you can roll with the conversation like that. What made you start your podcast?
Man, it was something, from doing speaking engagements and whatnot. And, I speak on leadership and personal development. And my coach, who I've worked with, his name is Eldridge Broussard. He came to me and said, "Hey, Alex, you need to do this." I said, and I trust him. He said, "You need to do a podcast so it can once again give you a platform. You played in the NFL, and that was a long time ago, but the conversations that you have, the people that you know at different levels, it can up your brand and your platform." So I said, I think it's the best thing you can do for your business. And he was correct. And I end up, knowing what I know, I knew that I needed help. So I ended up jumping in to this podcast accelerator type of online course, and end up learning how to do it and how to interview folks and exactly who I want it to impact. So I ended up doing it, man, and haven't looked back since.
When did you start it?
shoot, almost my first episode dropped April 20th, 2020. Yeah.
Oh,
So
I didn't realize that. I thought it was.
yeah.
I know you've got a bunch of episodes out.
You're almost on your 1-year anniversary here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I don't know exactly what the opportunities are, or if you want to even talk about the specific opportunities that have come from that, but anytime you can get out your message, it's going to lead to more opportunities. That's why I've said this before. I think every athlete should have a podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, whatever your thing is, you can get that message out. And even if it's not, the end goal isn't the podcast. Like in what we do, we're not trying to get 10. I mean, we'd love 10 million listeners per episode here. We're not getting that. But what we can continue to do is put out good content, use this, have a long form conversation, put out content on social, and build relationships with people we talk to. And it's like, who did I talk to the other day? It was someone who's going to get drafted, WNBA actually.
Okay.
We're talking about stuff like this. And I was like, sometimes basically what I said to her, it's not necessarily the end goal is getting 10 million or 10 million listeners on your podcast, but you can create these other opportunities because of what you're saying on there. And it's always a way to disseminate a message instead of getting on your phone and talking for 10 minutes for Instagram TV or something. Now you can have a real authentic conversation, have a back and forth, or even just get out the message you want to get out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, for me, I get to be able to share my story, but then also like your story and other people's stories who've been guests on my show. And then I get to plug what I'm doing now. I get to plug the fact that, hey, I'm a coach. I help people become better at life, more intentional. So I help them do that. I also get to plug, I speak to different companies, whether small or Fortune 500 companies. So without me having to brag or say it, I can tell a story.
Yeah.
And it's so people know is that, I didn't know he did that. Well, let me check out his website. Boom, and then it gets more and more touch points, touch points.
Exactly. What it does, it scales the conversation. If we were sitting down the street having coffee and we were just having a conversation, and you would say, okay, here's what I do. We would say, oh, we know somebody, and we would introduce you. But now we put it out there, and now 3 people might know somebody, and then they contact you. It's scaling and uplifting that conversation, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have podcasts, obviously, you do speaking and coaching. You have the High Achievers Academy. So you finished 10, 12 years ago playing, and I don't know.
I wish. Let me see.
You're 48?
I'll be 48 in August. Yes,
right,
sir.
So 15 years ago, maybe? How long ago?
Yeah, about 16, coming up on 16. Yeah.
All right. My math wasn't great there. But I knew you're 48, upper 40s, and you played, 9 years, 8 years?
8 years, yeah.
Yeah, so I can do the math, the 30, yeah. Anyway, and you got, but you got 8 kids, and I don't know what you made in the league, but you made some decent money. At some point, that's all gonna go away or tough to build on. At what point did you start getting to, whether it was while you're playing or after, where you're like, oh shit, I gotta start doing some other stuff? Whether it's a money thing or just like, I want to have something I put my work into put my heart into when I work.
Yeah, it was that for me. It was like something that I had to, you're finding your purpose.
Yeah.
Because for so long, whether it's and I put it on myself first, but football was who I was. Once I started playing and you start to reach certain levels and people start to view you a certain way, they start to put you on this different, pedestal or whatnot, and then you buy into it. And then you keep having success and it wraps into your ability. And then you start, next year, you're 32 years old and football is done. And he's like, well, okay, well, who am I? What do I like? How do I want to make an impact in this world? I don't want to just get up. It sounds great to get up and work out and play golf all day and pick up the kids from school. But that stuff gets old, man. It gets old real quick. And so I knew, man, I wanted to be inspired. I didn't want to go to or get a job where I sit somewhere and I get on the computer and I get up and I go home where there's no inspiration in there. And so I knew I wanted to do something that, number one, I was inspired to do. And then number two, if I can inspire somebody else to become the best version of themselves. And so for me, it was pretty simple. It took me a while though to figure it out, but I want to help a younger guy like myself become a better athlete. And so I became a trainer. I became a performance, speed coach. Outside we doing a lot of speed work, and I learned how to make an impact like that. So I had to learn how to coach people, and then learn, the craft, right? Learn all the skills of it. So I did that, and I did it for so long, and I did it, man. I ended up doing what my backup plan was. I had a backup plan. My backup plan for first was I was going to play professional football, no matter what. My backup plan was I want to be a trainer, personal trainer at a big time corporation or company.
Yeah.
I've done that, for 13 years over at Nike World Headquarters. And now though, I know that I'm more than that, than a trainer. And so over the past 3 or 4 years, I've been transitioning to helping people become better people, help people become better influencers, better husbands, fathers, better managers. So I learned how to really break down and dig deep into what leadership is, and then how you can use those things in every aspect of your life. And so I found out, like, man, what I wanted to do and the type of impact, and it changes, right? I'm not the same person that I was when I was 33 and I was looking to figure out what I wanted to do in life. Now I know exactly who I am. I know what my purpose is, and I know how I continually need to adapt, and how I communicate, the relationships that I create, the opportunities that are there. I know how to be how to show up for those.
That's awesome. I love that. I think we ended on that, Tim.
Yeah, that was good.
Let's end it on that, Alex. Well, I thought that was a good way to just end it. Appreciate the time, Alex.